Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Max, the Senior Director for Product Ecosystems and Engagement, and I'm very happy to be welcoming you to our webinar for today, which is about revolutionizing your document processing with no-code technology. I've got a great few speakers with me today, both Ed and Paul from Paul from X Technologies, Chief of Staff and also Global Head of Sales, and also got Ed Berry, Director of Finance Innovation from Manchester University NHS Foundation Trust.
Thanks, Maxi. My name's Ed Berry, and I'm the Director of Finance Innovation. I focus mainly on any technology that's not the core ledger. So I've been lucky to be on the journey with the Trust for the last 2 years as we've introduced robotic process automation and associated technologies around intelligent document processing with that. Manchester itself is one of the largest acute provider trusts in the country within the NHS, with a turnover of just over 2.5 billion, of which 1 billion of that is related to non-pay expenditure, and we see around 275,000 invoices a year. So huge volumes of invoices are coming through the organisation, with around about 6,000 live suppliers in use at any time. So we're really excited to think of what RPA and automation could do to us in an area of work that was very transactional up until about 2 years ago.
Thanks as well to everybody that's on the webinar today, because it's a great set of items that we're going to be talking about. And first of all, we're going to go through just a simple question of what exactly is no-code intelligent document processing, right? It's because there's been a lot of confusion in the market lately about what is OCR, what is intelligent document processing, what is IDP, and what really makes a difference. Then, of course, I want to highlight as well exactly the benefits that you can achieve. And we'll talk about the top 5 because there's so many of them in terms of benefits that you can have from intelligent document processing automation, specifically with the no-code approach. So we'll talk about that. But then, of course, I want to have, just give you a tip of the iceberg about exactly how this works. How does this technology help you? How did it help the topics and the customers and the partners that we're working with today, such as X Technology and the NHS, in terms of how it really changed for them the way that they're working. And then, of course, I'm very happy that we have Ed on so that he can really talk about the customer highlight, which is, exactly what happened and how it worked for them to really change the way that they're combining IDP and workflow automation to deliver much more streamlined end-to-end financial processes. And we already heard Ed talk a little bit about it, the sheer amount of volume, the sheer amount of complexity, and how we really were able to help change that. So let's kick things off with the actual transformation challenge. So what we're seeing today, and actually we've seen this in some of our research as well, and you can see this in research from analyst firms too, is that overall, a lot of our processes that we have within organizations, large to very medium to very smaller organizations, actually all the same, 80% of their business processes are completely document centric. And it's really posing a transformation challenge because all of what we would call in the tech jargon, the low hanging fruit that you can actually automate quite easily has already been automated because it's very structured. It's all around structured processes, structured information. But once we get to the actual processes that matter, such as accounts payable, new account opening, loan origination, claims, customer onboarding, and of course also anything in terms of finance, all of that is incredibly document driven. And actually, again, research has shown that it's about 80% of business processes that are completely document centric. So that is actually the challenge that we're facing today, which we can help you with. And to do that, we actually have something that's called outside into the market, intelligent document processing. But exactly what is that? What is the importance of it, and why is it such an important piece of the puzzle? Well, according to the Everest Group, gave a definition of IDP software solutions blend the power of AI technologies that have already been existing on the market, or actually are much newer now that we have new capabilities in terms of hardware and software, to efficiently process all types of documents and feed the output into downstream applications. So that is the official definition of what is an intelligent document processing capability. But I really also like to talk about it as it being the natural evolution and also actually the next level of what people usually refer to as OCR, or optical character recognition. OCR really is just about making the computer or the system or the platform able to understand what the different characters or hieroglyphs actually pretend to be within our alphabet of letters and words that we have. But then IDP takes that next step of actually bringing understanding to what those characters and combinations of words actually mean, and which ones have value and which ones do not. And it's exactly with this type of technology that we can take it one step further to really start looking again at that transformation challenge, which is 80% of these processes have documents involved. And we don't need to just have the digital version of those documents, but we need the understanding of what is inside those documents to be able to provide that level of automation that we're looking for. So there's a couple of reasons why enterprises, organizations struggle to automate document processes. And some of them already talked about on the previous slide. There's a difference between just having a digital version of a document and then actually having understanding of a document. But there's more to it. There's definitely the legacy systems. A lot of systems today do not work well together or work well within the understanding that a document is actually unstructured information. It takes a lot of time to be able to transform that into something that these legacy systems understand. In addition, they're also not very friendly in terms of being able to integrate with them, because in the end, you don't want to be manually entering information into that legacy system. You want to actually have your downstream system integrate with your intelligent document processing platform so that you can easily input all of that information that you've accessed from those documents. Another challenge, definitely within the larger space, within the market of intelligent document processing tools, is that there's lots of niche products, and they focus on one particular business model, one particular business problem actually, and it's very limited in terms of what it can actually do. So, but what the thing is, again, 80%, that's a lot. So if you start with one single process that you've automated and you've used a niche product and then you want to move to the next process, suddenly you find out it's not supported, it's not possible, or it takes a lot of, again, time and effort, and most of all costs, to actually get to that point where you can automate the next process. And that's where at Abby we really try to make the difference, so that whatever process that you're looking at, whatever set of documents that are involved in that process, we can actually help you do that very quickly by using our combination of technologies. And one of the last bits that we definitely see, and this is even just purely feedback that I think we'll hear about later as well, is actually the ability to scale these solutions. Again, just automating a single process, that's manageable. It's focused. You can have this particular instance automated, but then you see the success and you want to move to the next one. And that's where you really need a platform that allows you to scale to process millions of documents if you need to, all the way up to that level. So, and also to be able to understand any kind of shape or form of a document that you want to be able to access. So that's exactly what the approach is that we took to offer intelligent document processing, because we really see it as a key for the digital transformation strategy of any enterprise that's out there. Now, the way that we've approached all of that is through Abby Vantage. Intelligent document processing really delivered in a different way as consumable AI skills that allow you to understand your documents in a fast and simple way. Most importantly, and actually this is one of my favorite things about Vantage, is that it's designed for today's users. No more the enterprise gray. Everything is built for low code, no code, built for the citizen developer, so that anybody can really be successful in achieving the results that they want to have when they're trying to build these automations. And the intelligence that comes with it is absolutely next level. It's built on Abby's core technology that's been around for more than 30 years, but we've actually created and reshaped it so that we have this new set of best of breed technologies that are all working together. Something that's been proven, something that's completely new, and it allows us to be a lot faster in the way that we achieved it. But it's all built on those core technologies around fast and deep machine learning. This means that it's becoming incredibly easy for you to get started and build your own capabilities. But later I'll talk also as well about our digital marketplace with the pre-trained document skills. Because we have our digital marketplace, you can actually find that a lot of these processes are already covered, that you can just click and download whatever skill it is that you need to be able to work with that particular type of document in the process. And this is absolutely great because it allows you, again, to achieve that result, to achieve that success a lot faster. And then last, but certainly not least, modern architecture. we see that there's an evolution happening within our customers, that they are actually moving more and more toward the cloud. And you want your system to actually be part of that. So it's completely based on microservices, containerized, and Kubernetes. So what are some of the key drivers and benefits for your intelligent document processing strategy for your business? And definitely the key thing is that you want to unlock the insights that really improve your operational efficiency and outcome. So one of the key things, I think, especially today, is to have a much more quick ROI, month of development effort and quicker ROI. We want to reduce that. So actually building a new skill, building a new model, as it's typically referred to, within Vantage only takes about 30 minutes. You just need a couple of samples documents. You want to add those to the platform. It will already start working with you again with a digital assistant to help you out and actually turn that information into valuable information that you can use very quickly. Again, pushing that into the downstream system. And of course, accuracy. Accuracy is absolutely crucial. And actually, I would even say straight through processing is just a natural evolution of that increased accuracy. We don't want to have as much human touch because we want to ensure that no errors actually make it through into the platform that we're choosing. So 99.5% recognizing accuracy is a real thing that can work. And actually, your straight through processing is absolutely essential, and it's a crucial part of that overall solution. So cost savings, cost savings through process analysis and automation. This is absolutely the benefits, some of the benefits that are actually coming out of these steps. So when you are able to much more quickly achieve the ROI that you're looking for, much easier, you can actually develop new skills at a very easy rate. You can have accuracy that continuously builds up because, of course, Vantage and the platform is going to continuously train itself on new information that's coming in. This will lead to all of these benefits. Faster processing, accelerated business decisions simply because you have the data, you don't have to wait for it, and that will all turn into cost savings as well. So again, like I said, it's absolutely great that you can turn any kind of document that you have into actual data. And with the Abby Marketplace, we simply say there's a skill for that. On the marketplace, you'll find that there's an incredible amount of ready-to-go skills that you can use from Abby, from our partners, and from our technology partners as well, so that you can actually have something pre-built. You can have a much faster starting point, again, leading to that faster ROI, leading to those faster results. There's no development needed, and you can really accelerate your projects and enable all of your automation teams. And the great thing is we have them in different shapes and forms. So the building blocks to solutions are the new ready-to-go skills. So we already have skills available around invoicing, remittance advices, utility bills, tax forms, lease agreements, all different types of documents, going from structured all the way to unstructured. And all of that is leading into new types of automations that you can use or that you can actually build with those building blocks. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, lending, know your customer, taxes, supply chain logistics, contract lifecycle, and more. All of it you can discover today on the marketplace. Now, of course, the question is, how does this all then actually work? Well, actually, it's only 3 simple steps. You upload any kind of document that you have, and Vantage will start detecting exactly what it is out of the box. It will suggest the skills coming from the marketplace, telling you, hey, we already have a skill for this. Do you want to see the results of what we can extract without any kind of development whatsoever? And once you have those results, you can choose, again, from all of the available integrations that we have within our product ecosystem to RPAs, BPMs, and other systems as well, that you can plug it in Vantage skills into that platform and start using it right now. That's really the power of its capabilities and how it really fits within that essential building block of really automating or driving through your digital transformation. So like I said, accurate data delivered to any kind of system with all of the connectors that we have today, and also full integrations or full partnerships with our technology partners as well. Whether that's through chatbots, mobile integrations, RPA, BPM, and others as well. And we have a set of connectors that's continuously growing into more and more systems every single month. So it's really great how this can all really benefit into the capabilities that you're looking for and those building blocks, and really being able to leverage these systems that you have so that they can now start to understand these much more complex processes, and you can really get to that point where you're getting that ROI. Now, of course, all of this is also connected into our process mining capabilities that we have. Because IDP data connected to whatever process mining capabilities, such as we have with Abby Timeline, really gives you that end-to-end view of combining document process data with other key systems through the platform. So again, information that's currently locked away inside of your systems, both in the events, but also in the documents, is really something that you want to have to really get to that level of operational monitoring that you can really take decisions based on data that's coming in from anywhere, that 360-degree view, allowing you to have better execution, but also to manage quality and operational controls, but definitely to ensure that there's SLAs in place and that you meet those SLAs. And you can only do that if you have a full understanding of all of the bits and pieces of your process, including the ones that are much more complex to reach, again, which are the documents. And like I said at the start, 80% of processes have documents involved. That's essential data that we need. That's essential data that we have to have. So to explain a little bit more about how exactly Exo Technologies work together with our solutions, with Vantage, and how that came to a solution that's working really well for the NHS. We actually have Paul here today that's going to walk us through that.
We started working with Ed and the MFT team over 2 years ago, and at that point they had over 18 whole-time equivalents who were manually loading, validating and matching invoice and credit notes into their Integra system. We were looking to use automation, a combination of robotic process automation and intelligent document processing to take that manual process and make it and automate it. Basically, we were doing this because we wanted to reduce the number of people involved in that process to allow them to focus on different business critical areas, increase accuracy, and also reduce processing time, payment risks, and monthly reconciliations. Unfortunately, the solution that we originally created, the IDP solution that was used at that point, was creating more work for us as opposed to actually reducing that manual effort, so we needed to look for an alternative. So in terms of the solution that we were looking at, the automated process we built loads invoices into a shared folder, and an RPA tool picks up those invoices from that folder. Now, MFT have thousands of vendors and subsequently thousands of different types of invoices. To save time and remove the need to extract information from each invoice by training the RPA tool against each individual case, we use Abby Vantage. Now, Abby Vantage is able to locate the relevant information from each invoice or credit note and extract it, which then enables the RPA tool to input it into Integra. Once in Integra, the file is processed and goes to the document registration page, where the various pieces of information that Abby Vantage extracted are loaded in. Once this data is loaded, the RPA tool is able to check all the information extracted by Abby Vantage and make sure that it's aligned against the associated PO within Integra. In terms of the original solution we had, we were having issues which essentially meant we weren't able to reduce the manual effort in that process. We had grouping issues where invoices were when invoices were processed, a large number of unnecessary groups were created. So what should have happened is that when an invoice came in from, say, company A, the IDP tool would be able to read and extract the relevant information and put it into a group. And when you then get another invoice from that company, that invoice goes into the same group and it's able to extract the relevant information. This wasn't happening. We have an extra groups created, which led to a large amount of manual intervention and training on behalf of us and MFT, essentially negating the benefit of automating the process in the first place. What we found with Abby is that training is easier and less time consuming for the end users. Documents that were considered too complex from the previous tool could easily be trained within Abby with minimum effort. We also found a major benefit of Abby Vantage is it allows you to apply advanced functions for a given field across the entire training set instead of applying individual rules and functions to individual groups. This removes the need to repeat the same rules multiple times, as was the case originally. Previously, there was a fair amount of Python code that was needed to manipulate data, and often it had to be repeated in multiple different groups. We found that with Abby, you can build a skill without using any code, and if it is needed at all, you don't require a lot. The pre-built skill pages come with many rules built in that you can choose to keep, reducing the amount of code you might have otherwise needed to use. Finally, ABBYY is also able to standardize field value formats such as date formats, which reduces the amount of post-processing and data validation time. In short, and in essence, we found that ABBYY was a lot quicker to use to train and actually extract the data that we need to extract without resorting to manual interventions. We often found that with the previous solution, supplier documents that had been fully trained still created new and unnecessary groups, meaning more training was needed. Training of new groups required manually migrating between two environments, which was time consuming. And also training when documents had complex table structures was even more time consuming or not possible at all. Often data extracted was incomplete and inconsistent, which meant that the RPA tool could not process it and it had to be completed manually. Finally, the previous solution did not learn when documents were validated. So time spent on training and validating invoices provided no benefits because it was not remembered by the IDP tool. So then we got to the point where essentially that whole automated process was in danger of being turned off. It wasn't delivering the time savings that we had intended. And so MFT and Ed came to us and said that could we review the market and see if we could find an alternative solution so that we could continue with this process. So our technical team carried out a full market review looking at alternative products that could A, solve the problems we were experiencing, which would reduce the manual effort, and B, slot into the existing RPA solution, minimizing the need for additional development time, effort, and disruption to the MFT team. And we found that ABBYY Vantage ticked both of those boxes, which is why ultimately we swapped them in. We now have, as a result of that, a greater number of invoices are now being successfully processed without the need for manual intervention. This has freed up members of the AP team, allowing them to focus on other critical areas, and our team are having to spend a lot less time fixing problems and getting involved in manually pushing invoices through.
Well, thanks, Paul. That was really insightful to kind of learn a bit more about exactly how you guys put together the end-to-end solution in this case, and the problem statement and the kind of outcome that you were able to achieve. But I'm actually even more interested here from Ed as to what kind of, so what the solution actually brought, how it's changed things, how the solution came to be, and some of that. So Ed, I'd love to turn it over to you to give us some more insights into how you felt about this journey and how it actually impacted you.
Hi, Maxime. Well, it's been really exciting for us and quite a long journey. I mean, we started a couple of years ago when we knew absolutely nothing about automation or RPA. Probably didn't even know what OCR stood for, to be quite honest, even though we had it in our ledger, and we didn't think that there was an opportunity to do things in a different way. But through Extra, we had a proof of concept that was looking at invoice processing as an ideal candidate, and that kind of explored a whole new world for introducing automation into our systems that we hadn't even considered before. And then we went through an exciting journey of building it and putting all the RPA in place with a previous solution, a really ambition to kind of move those 275,000 invoices through end-to-end automation was our kind of, that was the place we were looking to go to. And we knew that some of those invoices would never be quite suitable for it, but a really good chunk would do. We had a very large team of people working on this, and we thought, actually, we don't want these people locked into transactional processes when there's loads of other work. Demand in the NHS has changed all the time, huge impact of the pandemic. These people can do much better things with working through with suppliers than processing these invoices, but it's an absolutely core essential part of our business that needs to be done. So we went on a journey with a previous solution and changed the skill set of the team. We introduced the likes of Python coding because the previous solution was quite technical, and we were really pleased to begin with. And as we scaled it up and added more and more suppliers, we came to an issue where there was instability in the system, and basically from a point of wanting to have automation spread about all through finance and in our other corporate functions, and then ultimately across the whole of the organization, this is obviously a bit of a concern because this is our showcase automation program, and a core bit of the technology underneath it, the RPA, worked brilliantly all the way through and consistently. But once the software that was doing the intelligent document reading was involved, the more that we put through those and the wider the number of suppliers, we just noticed lots of inconsistency, and we were getting more concerns about the solution. And we'd spoken to other people on this journey and looked at those, but ultimately our 6,000 suppliers was the biggest challenge, because there's huge ranges of invoice formats on there. And I think, if I'm honest, we were at a point where the whole of the automation program was really in jeopardy because we couldn't get a reliable solution in place. So we spoke to Extra and said, we need help here. What are the alternatives that are available? And through that process, that identified AbbeyVantage as an alternative solution to put in place. And I think from that point of, and we gave you the solution many months to try and bed down. But once we made the decision, that the switchover was pretty quick, actually. I think it was a matter of weeks that Extra supported the move over, and that was in the build up to Christmas 2021. So this is not too long ago for us at all. And as you can see from the chart that's in front of you now, it was January, and it wasn't the start of January, I think it was the back end of January that we switched on the new number of the Abbey solution, and then began adding more and more suppliers to it. And what we saw was the journey that we wanted to have seen 12 months previously on the other solution, and that was a really rapid rollout. I mean, the chart that you can see on the slide here is a bit bumpy because we also had a ledger change in July, so don't see that as a direct relation to our automation program. That was an external factor, but we are now at a place where we're well over 8,000 invoices a month are going through in the complete end-to-end automation that we always wanted to, and along with that, we're on a journey that's feels a lot more stable, with a really strong foundation in place, and we are adjusting the team to be able to add more and more suppliers all the time. I think you can see from the slide we've got 164. That number's changing all the time, and obviously we've got 6,000 suppliers, but we have a couple of hundred where the vast majority of our invoices go through, and some of those we can have tens, I don't know if it's hundreds a week, but it's very high volumes for some of our common items that we're buying. So we're very close to the place of getting a huge percentage of those cracked and in a really stable place through using the Abbey platform. So from a point of utter desperation, this came and has really, I think, it saved our automation program, to be quite honest.
That's really great to hear. So it does sound a bit like a roller coaster from having used the previous, more, I would say almost a more OCR focused system and very code heavy platform to then switching over to Vantage, which is very much more in terms of no code at all, and actually out of the box solution for invoices specifically, and then still adaptable by your team by upskilling them or actually transferring skills from Python coding over to understanding how Vantage works. It seems like a bit of a roller coaster. Is that right to say?
Absolutely, yeah. And it was there were some real positives. I mean, we've been lucky that the team, all the way along this journey, the team have known that the vision to automate the invoices and to move that transactional work over to a platform was the right thing to do. And their kind of will to keep this going has kind of driven it along. So we've been fortunate that it hasn't been something we've needed to enforce on the team. They've been completely behind it from day one, but they've been on this roller coaster of a journey of having to do some really quite technical skill sets with the previous solution to one now which is far more intuitive for them to use. And we're still upskilling the team, but that's a good evolution of our function, our staff, and expanding their skill set, but doing it in a way that feels a lot more stable and with a tool that they know is reliable and is pushing things in the right direction. So it has been a roller coaster, but I think it's leveled out now, thankfully.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. And I think what's also important is if you see that definitely growing those skills, that's absolutely what you want to do. And that makes absolute sense. And then I think that will probably, we're still on this journey on this particular process, but I think it also creates confidence that, the next process that you might want to do, the next thing that you want to automate, even if there are documents involved, that you have the right tools in your toolkit in the combination of different set of platforms that you're using for this solution as well. that you will be able to tackle it. You know, the confidence is building as well in the platform, in AbbVantage, in the combination of these tools, that when you get to the next process, there might be documents involved, there definitely will be for sure, that you're just going to be able to handle that and have another steady evolution, hopefully without this the roller coaster effect, which I'm pretty sure we'll be able to avoid together in this. But I think that builds confidence as well within the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think from the beginning, there was a danger that the other solution was going to stop our RPA program full stop, and we were then getting to a place where actually you couldn't explore things that were purely RPA. And we had lots of examples of people coming to us and saying, we've got, you know, as you can appreciate, with lots of clinical records, there's lots of scanned documents in place, you know, all the way across the organisation, from our staff records to our patient records. And I think our fear was that the other solution, we just couldn't trust it. But now we're into a place where actually, you know, all those potential candidate processes are opened up again, because we've got a tool that we think, yes, that will do the job, and it will do it in a very robust and reliable way. So we can begin to have a different think about what possible automations are, where, to be honest, those were just wiped out, you know, 7 or 8 months ago. We just couldn't even consider any other process that involved reading a document.
Yeah, well, thanks for telling us and walking us through your journey. Well, the roller coaster ride in this case, but I'm glad it is indeed leveling out. And I'm quite excited to see, you know, after you've been able to fully tackle this process, what will be the next one? Because I do think, you know, like you just said, there's so many out there, and it's great to hear that these candidates that have already been passed over are being looked at again for further automation. So I think that's going to be a great journey into the future. And we're from Abby, we're really glad together with Exo Technology that we're able to help you on that journey. So with that, you know, having heard that very interesting story, I'd like to go to the Q&A section to see if there's a few questions out there. And actually, we already had a few come in throughout the webinar. So, and some of it you already talked about, you know, but maybe there's a little bit more that you can compare to. So the question is, how did your previous IDP component that you talked about, you know, previous tool, compare to AbbVantage? You already mentioned a few things. You know, it was very code heavy. They had to learn programming in Python. It didn't seem to scale. But were there the other major kind of items that you called out that you saw as a difference compared to AbbVantage?
I mean, I think the skill set was really, there was a big requirement to upskill there that we hadn't envisaged for a start, because we thought, you know, we start with, you know, tens of invoices or tens of different suppliers, and with an aim to go into the low hundreds. But you think if you've got 6,000, it didn't feel sustainable that you needed a level of external expertise to do this, because you thought, you know, we will only make really good ROI on this if we're able to get to a place where we can inherit the system and grow it ourselves. And that was a real concern before, that you really needed quite an advanced level of skills that we didn't have internally. But the main issue, I think, beyond that was, as it expanded, it became less stable. So you just couldn't trust that you were putting in an invoice and it was going to be read correctly or interpreted the correct way. And I think that just put a fundamental kind of question mark around the whole of the automation process that we were trying to deploy.
Yeah, I understand that, because, you know, it all starts with having the data. You know, if the data that's coming from the documents is incorrect, then the rest of the process will simply not work either in terms of the automation. So I fully understand that. We actually had a second question around that particular topic. It simply said, why didn't it perform? What was there a particular issue? Was it a technical issue? And what was perhaps the reason why it didn't scale? It might be a bit technical, but it'd be interesting if you have any kind of, you know, insights into that.
It just felt that it hadn't quite been fully developed. Like we were using a beta model of a system, if I'm honest, and there was a lot of support coming through from the supplier to trying to fix it, but it just felt like it wasn't ready. It wasn't a mature system. It was one that we were going to be part of the sort of bleeding edge of developing. And for small numbers, it was quite stable, but it was basically the consistency wouldn't go. You could set up a supplier and you think brilliantly that this is all working through, and all of a sudden the tool would add in a different supplier to that bucket and treat them in a different way, and it just felt it wasn't quite ready to be there. And I think there's a point where you don't mind being part sometimes of new technology, but it gets to a limit and you say, actually, no, we just need something that works.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if it starts putting your entire automation practice at risk, that's definitely not something that you want to entertain. It still has to deliver. So another question that we had is why did you end up choosing AbiVantage? Because you already had the system, you were looking for a replacement. What were the key benefits that you saw in AbiVantage that really made you go, well, this feels like the one that could really get us out of this? Well, we talked about the roller coaster effect, get us out of this roller coaster back into a continuous line of improvement over the next couple of months, and hopefully actually very quickly, because we're at risk of this entire process not working out.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's difficult because, our expertise is not in IT. We're a finance and procurement department. And, so we went and asked the question to Extra, say, look for us, what's available on the market. We need your expertise to be able to see the products out there. And I think through their review of it was presented back to us that the AbiVantage solution was a much more logical, cleaner, a simpler tool to use. I think one of the big points that was very clear from the software, very early on, is that we could put this in the hands of our team, and we were already upskilling them, but we could really kind of enable them to grow further and really take on that development expansion across other suppliers that you couldn't do with the other solution. So we thought this is a really good way for upskilling our staff, and then for them to be able to take control of expanding the process. And I think it came along as a mature product that looked like it had been doing the job for a number of years, rather than something that was very, very much at the sort of development phase and wasn't quite ready. So we thought, here is something that works, essentially.
Well, that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you need. That's great to hear. Well, thanks for sharing. So I think that's about all we have time for in terms of questions. If you do have more questions, you can definitely reach out to us. And actually, if you want to have a look at what exactly Vantage can do for you and help you process documents in a much smarter way, feel free to go over to abi.com/vantage and book yourself an exclusive demo so that we can show you exactly what's possible. But also go visit the marketplace. You can already see today exactly what Vantage can deliver on that marketplace.abi.com, and you can actually see exactly the huge amount of skills that's available there, the huge amount of processes that we can help with in the same fashion as we did with this particular project from Ed, and the great story that we were able to hear there. So Ed, thank you again for joining. It was really great to have you on. Paul, thanks to you as well, and thanks to Exit Technology for helping with the NHS and putting together the end-to-end solution. It was great to hear this entire story and this entire journey. And like I said, I'm looking forward to what the next thing is that we will be able to do together in terms of automation, where we can tackle some of these other processes that were previously overlooked simply because the previous solution wasn't able to keep up with that. But now that you have the confidence with AbiVantage that you're going to be able to tackle those, I'm looking forward to what that is going to be. So thank you again. Thank you very much for staying with us here on the webinar. Thanks again to Paul and to Ed for joining us, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.